I took out a loan for my brother. He promised he'd pay me back. He didn't. And now, I'm being sued. When I confronted him, he laughed. You agreed to it, he said, with that infuriating smirk of his. So, I smashed his PS5. The next day, my parents called, screaming at me. And then, something I never saw coming happened. So, yeah, I'm being sued because I was naive enough to take out a loan for my brother. He swore he'd pay it back. But now I'm left holding the bag while he doesn't care at all. Let me rewind for a moment. Ryan's always been the type to talk his way out of anything. Growing up, he was the golden child, the one who could break a window and somehow convince our parents I was the one who didn't stop him. Me? I was the responsible one, the one who had to clean up his messes. So when he came to me, all serious, saying he needed help getting a loan, I should have known better. But because I didn't think twice. Come on, it's just paperwork, Ryan said, flashing his signature grin. I'll handle the payments, I swear. I just need you to co-sign. Banks get weird about credit scores, you know? I stared at the loan documents, feeling something was off, but he was so convincing. This was the most normal request ever. He needed the money for something huge, though he wouldn't say what. A startup? A business idea? He was vague, but it sounded important. I sighed. Why can't you just get it yourself? He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. My credit's a little shot right now. Not my fault, some billing mix-up. You know how these things go. I knew exactly how these things went. Ryan messes up, and I end up cleaning it up. Ryan, I don't think. Emma, he cut me off, voice dropping into that tone that made me believe him. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't necessary. It's just a formality. You know I always take care of things. Yeah. Like the time he borrowed my car and left it at some girl's place because he was too drunk to drive home. Or when he needed just a little help with rent and somehow ended up with enough for a weekend in Vegas. But Mom always said, family sticks together. You're the big sister. Help him out. So, like an idiot, I did. I signed. The calls start coming. At first, everything seemed fine. Ryan reassured me he was handling the payments, and I didn't think twice. Until 3 months later, when I got my first call from the bank. Miss Thompson, we need to discuss the past due payments on your loan, a stern voice said. You're 2 months behind. I froze. That's a mistake. My brother's supposed to be handling that. The payments are under your name, ma'am. As the primary borrower, you're responsible. I hung up and immediately called Ryan. No answer. I tried again. Nothing. Finally, on the third attempt, he answered, sounding groggy. Oh, relax, he chuckled when I confronted him. It's just a little late. I'll take care of it. Ryan, they're saying it's 2 months overdue. God, you're so dramatic, he sighed. I'll get the money. It's not a big deal. But the calls kept coming. One after the other. And every time I reached out to him, his responses became more dismissive. Emma, why are you freaking out? You agreed to this. Not my fault you're stressing. That's when I realized, it wasn't just that he was behind. He had no intention of paying me back. The confrontation. Remember how I said Ryan never planned on paying back the loan? Turns out, he wasn't even trying. And now, I'm getting sued. After the third call from the bank, I snapped. I showed up at his apartment, ready to knock down his door if that's what it took. He lived in a ridiculously overpriced downtown loft, the kind of place that made no sense for someone struggling financially. I banged on the door. Ryan, open up. Silence. Then, movement. He was home. I swear, if you don't open this door, I'll start shouting about how you have a terrible rash, I threatened. The door flew open. Emma, what is wrong with you? He snapped, rubbing his eyes, like I was the one being irrational. I shoved past him into his apartment. And that's when I completely lost it. Because instead of a broke, desperate entrepreneur trying to build something, I walked into what could have been a luxury showroom. Brand new TV. A PS5. Designer sneakers lined up like an influencer's dream. Expensive whiskey bottles set untouched on the counter. And the cherry on top? A brand new gaming PC sitting on his desk, with packaging stickers still on it. You've got to be kidding me. Ryan flopped onto the couch, clearly unfazed. Look, before you start freaking out. You told me you didn't have money. I yelled, gesturing at the piles of useless, expensive junk around him. I don't, he said, rubbing his neck. I mean, not cash. But I needed some stuff, Emma. You don't get it. Stuff? You needed a gaming setup while I'm being sued. He rolled his eyes. Actually rolled his eyes. Oh my gosh, you're being so dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. Ryan, I got the papers today. They're taking me to court. That got his attention. His smirk vanished. Wait, what? They're suing you? Yes, genius. He sat up, looking like this was all news to him. Like he hadn't spent months dodging payments. Like this wasn't the natural consequence of his actions. Okay, he said, rubbing his hands together as if about to fix everything. I can make some calls. You don't get it, Ryan. It's over. The loan is in my name. I'm liable for this. And you, I threw my hands up, gesturing wildly at his lavish apartment, are sitting here acting like I'm the one who's been inconvenienced. And then, because, of course, this couldn't get any more absurd, Ryan had the nerve to say, well, technically, you did agree to it. I swear, my vision blurred with rage. Are you seriously saying that right now? Emma, come on, don't be crazy, he dismissed, completely unfazed. Oh, I was crazy, and I turned on him with a fury I couldn't hold back. He grabbed his precious PlayStation, and before he could react, I threw it aside. It hit the floor with a sickening crack, shattering into pieces. What is wrong with you, Emma? Ryan shouted, leaping up and staring at the broken mess like I'd just shattered a priceless relic. Oh, I'm sorry, I said mockingly, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Did that cost money? Did it hurt to lose something expensive? He looked physically pained. That was a limited edition. I grabbed one of the whiskey bottles off his counter, holding it up. Okay, Ryan's voice pitched in panic. Stop, I'll fix it, I'll pay. I paused, bottle still in hand, and smiled sweetly. You will? He nodded frantically. Yes, just put the bottle down. I set it down carefully. Good, I said, eyes narrowing, because if you don't, Ryan, I swear, I will come back here every day and break something new until I've destroyed everything you care about. He gulped. The next morning, Ryan sent me proof that he'd made the first payment to the bank. For the first time in his life, he actually followed through. But you know what? I was done. I didn't hold back. I told my parents everything. I forwarded them the court papers, the texts, and even a photo of the wreckage that used to be his PS5. And do you know what my mother said? Emma, was it really necessary to break his things? He's your brother. Without hesitation, I blocked her number. As for Ryan, he had the audacity to text me a few days later. Ryan, hey, so we're good now, right? I blocked him too. My brother tricked me into taking a loan for him, spent the money on useless crap, got me sued, and only started paying back after I destroyed his PlayStation. No regrets. Smashing Ryan's PlayStation actually got him to make the first payment. Small win, right? I thought so too. But if you think this story ends with Ryan suddenly turning into a responsible adult, oh, you sweet summer child, because the real consequences were just beginning. After he made the payment, I finally felt some relief. It wasn't much, but at least the bank had stopped threatening legal action. Of course, that peace didn't last long. 2 days later, my phone lit up with a call from Mom. I debated ignoring it, but I knew if I didn't answer, she'd just keep calling until my voicemail exploded. I sighed and picked up. Emma. Her voice was already laced with disappointment. What did you do to your brother? I pinched the bridge of my nose. Mom, what did he tell you? He said you completely overreacted, destroyed his belongings, and scared him half to death. I let out a bitter laugh. Oh, you mean I overreacted after he tricked me into taking a loan, didn't pay it back, and almost got me sued? That part? Emma, she sighed. He was going to pay eventually. You know how Ryan is. Yes, I do, which is exactly why I don't believe him. I shot back. Mom insisted. Look, your brother's been under a lot of stress. He's going through a rough patch. A rough patch? I nearly shouted. Mom, he's living in a luxury apartment, buying gaming setups, and drinking whiskey that probably costs more than my car payment. He told me he's barely getting by, she countered. I had to pull the phone away from my ear and stare at it, completely dumbfounded. Mom, did you even ask to see his finances before you believed him? Of course not. He's my son. I trust him. Of course. Classic Ryan. Always the professional victim. Well, I hope you're ready to trust him a little more, because I'm done, I said, my patience running thin. He's on his own now. Mom gasped. Emma, you don't mean that. He's your brother. No, Mom, I said, voice cold. He's your son, and he's your problem now. And then, finally, for the first time in my entire life, I hung up on her. I honestly thought that was the end of it. Then, a few days later, Ryan texted me. Ryan, hey, can we talk? I stared at the message, the logical part of my brain screaming ignore him, but the tiny, foolish part of me, the one that still had some hope, thought, what if he's actually apologizing? So, like an idiot, I responded. Me, what do you want? Ryan, can we meet for coffee? I just want to talk. I was skeptical, but curiosity got the better of me, and I agreed. When I arrived at the cafe, Ryan was already there, fidgeting with his coffee cup and avoiding eye contact like a kid caught in a lie. Okay, I said, arms crossed, talk. He sighed, dramatically, before finally speaking. Look, I know I messed up. I raised an eyebrow, go on. And I get why you're mad. Keep going. He shifted uncomfortably, but you have to admit, you went a little overboard. I blinked. Excuse me? Ryan gestured wildly at the shattered console. You smashed my PlayStation. Do you have any idea how expensive that was? I actually laughed. Oh, you mean the PlayStation you bought with my destroyed credit? The one you got instead of paying back the loan that nearly got me sued? I told you I was going to pay it back. Ryan, I could feel people staring, but I didn't care. You sat there in your fancy apartment, buying nonsense, while I was getting harassed by the bank. And now, instead of an apology, you're mad that I broke your toy? Ryan flinched. Okay, I get it. You're upset. I'm not upset, Ryan, I said, voice steady. I'm done. He frowned. What do you mean? I mean I'm done with you, with fixing your messes, with cleaning up after you. You're on your own now. His jaw tightened. So that's it? You're just cutting me out? No, Ryan. I met his gaze. You did that when you lied to me. I grabbed my bag and walked out without looking back. It's been a month since that conversation, and I haven't spoken to Ryan since. Mom still calls sometimes, usually to tell me how hard things have been for him, but I let it go to voicemail. The bank, on the other hand, they love me now. Turns out, once Ryan realized I wasn't coming to the rescue, he magically figured out how to make his payments. Shocking, right? My credit score is still recovering, but at least I can sleep at night without waking up to a past due notice. And Ryan, let's just say I don't think he'll be asking me for another loan anytime soon. He tried to manipulate me into forgiving him. When that didn't work, he played the victim. I cut him off, and now the bank is getting their money while I'm getting my peace. It's been a glorious, stress-free month. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. It started with a text from Mom. Mom, Emma, you need to call me. It's urgent. I ignored it. In my family, urgent could mean anything from Ryan's in the hospital to a Ryan stubbed his toe and wants attention. Then came a second text. Mom, Ryan's in trouble. He really needs your help. I sighed, already regretting my life choices, but I called her anyway. She answered immediately. Emma, thank goodness. Listen, honey, I know you're still upset, but Ryan's in a really bad situation. I rubbed my temples. What happened? She hesitated. He, lost his apartment. I blinked. What? How? Well, the rent was a little behind. Oh, This is too good. I tried not to laugh. So, let me get this straight, he was buying gaming setups and fancy whiskey, but he wasn't paying his rent? Mom sighed. Emma, it's not that simple. He had some financial setbacks. Financial setbacks? I repeated. Mom, I was his financial setback. She ignored that. He's been staying with a friend, but it's not working out. He needs somewhere to go, and I was thinking, maybe he could stay with you for a little while? I nearly dropped my phone. What? Just for a bit, she rushed to say, just until he gets back on his feet. You have a spare room, don't you? I laughed, actually laughed. Mom, he scammed me, ruined my credit, almost got me sued, and now you want me to let him move in? He's your brother. Yes, which is exactly why he's not setting foot in my apartment. Emma, please, he has nowhere else to go. Oh, so your house is full? Mom hesitated. Well, you know how your father feels about that. So Dad already said no, and instead of Ryan facing the consequences of his own actions, you're trying to dump him on me? I shook my head. Absolutely not. Emma, you can't be serious. Where is he supposed to go? I don't know. A friend's couch, a motel, literally anywhere that isn't my home. You're being cruel. No, Mom, I said. I was cruel to myself for years by letting him walk all over me. This time, he can figure it out on his own. I hung up before she could argue. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. The next evening, I came home from work, exhausted and ready to collapse, only to find Ryan sitting at my kitchen counter, eating my food. I just stood there, stunned. What are you doing here? He looked up, mouth full of my leftover pasta, and had the nerve to smile. Hey, sis. I dropped my bag. How did you even get in? Mom gave me your spare key. I stared at him. Mom gave you my spare key? I took a deep breath, counted to 10. It didn't help. Ryan, get out. He put his fork down and leaned back, completely relaxed. Come on, Emma, it's just for a little while. No, absolutely not. You broke into my apartment and decided you live here? I didn't break in. Mom said you'd come around. Mom was wrong. I pointed at the door. Out. Now. Emma, seriously, where am I supposed to go? Not my problem. You're unbelievable, he muttered, grabbing his bag. I laughed. I'm unbelievable? You scammed me, trashed my finances, got me sued, and now you think I'm the problem? He rolled his eyes and stormed out. I locked the door behind him. Then, for good measure, I changed the locks. Of course, Ryan immediately ran to Mom. She called me at work, furious. Emma, how could you throw your brother out? Easily. He had nowhere to go. Maybe he should have thought about that before blowing his rent money on garbage. He's family, Emma. He's your brother. Oh, so you took him in? Silence. Then, softer. You know your father won't allow that. I exhaled sharply. So because Dad doesn't want to deal with Ryan, I'm supposed to? You're his sister. You're supposed to help him. I sighed. I did help him, Mom, and he used me. I'm not doing it again. She started crying. I hung up. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, Ryan has gone completely silent. No texts, no calls, no surprise visits. Mom, however, is still furious. She floods Facebook with cryptic posts about family loyalty and forgiveness. And I muted her. Dad secretly texted. I understand, but he won't say it out loud. My credit score is finally creeping back up. And you know what? For the first time in my life, I feel free. No more guilt. No more stress. No more being the responsible sister who fixes everything. Ryan is finally dealing with his own mess. And I finally get to live my life without waiting for his next disaster. My brother lost his apartment, tried to move into mine without permission, then called me selfish when I kicked him out. I changed the locks, cut him off, and now, I finally have peace. It's been a month since I threw Ryan out. I thought that was the end of it. I should have known better. Because Ryan, he doesn't go down that easily. I woke up one morning, scrolled through my phone like usual, and nearly choked on my coffee. Ryan had gone full PR crisis mode, except the crisis was him, and the PR strategy was painting me as the villain. His Facebook status was pure melodrama. It's hard when the people you love turn their backs on you. I never thought my own sister would throw me out onto the streets when I needed her most. I've always tried to be there for her, but I guess money is more important than family. Some people change when they get a little success, but it's okay. I know who my real family is now. Oh, my God. I checked the comments, hundreds of sympathy and outrage. Oh no. Ryan, that's awful. Stay strong. I can't believe your own sister did that to you. Some people let money change them. You don't need that kind of negativity in your life. Then I saw it, Mom had commented. Ryan, we love you so much. Don't worry, sweetheart, you'll always have a home with us. Some people forget what family means, but we know better. I swear, I almost threw my phone. Let's be clear, Ryan was never thrown onto the streets. He had plenty of places to go, friends, money for luxuries, all of it. He just didn't want to take responsibility for himself. And Mom, she knew this. But playing the role of the heartbroken mother was easier than admitting Ryan's problems were his own fault. I refused to engage. I wasn't going to argue on Facebook like some soap opera character. But then Ryan took it a step further. That afternoon, I got a text from an unknown number. Unknown, you should be ashamed of yourself. I frowned. Me? Who is this? Unknown, a friend of Ryan's. Unlike you, some of us actually care about family. Oh, fantastic. Now he was sending his friends after me. Me, I'm not entertaining this. Don't text me again. Blocked. I thought that was the end of it. Wrong. 2 days later, my landlord called. Landlord, Emma, I need to talk to you about something weird. Me? Okay. Landlord, someone made an anonymous report saying you've been illegally subletting your apartment. I nearly dropped my phone. Wait, what? Landlord. Yeah. Building management flagged it, but I know you, so I wanted to give you a heads up. I took a deep breath. Let me guess, there's no proof? Landlord, nope. Just a complaint. Honestly, it looks like someone's trying to stir up trouble for you. I laughed, actually laughed, because this was so Ryan. Emotional manipulation failed. Mom's guilt trip failed. So now he was just flinging nonsense at the wall, hoping something would stick. Landlord, don't worry. I shut it down, but I figured you should know someone's out to mess with you. Me? Yeah. I muttered. I have a pretty good idea who it is. I hung up. Then, I did something I should have done a long time ago. I sent Ryan one final text. Me, I know you called my landlord. I know you're trying to mess with me. Let me be very clear, I am done playing your games. You are out of my life, permanently. Do not text me. Do not try to accidentally run into me. If you keep harassing me, I will involve the police. Do you understand? He left me on read, and honestly, that was the best outcome I could have hoped for. It's been 2 weeks since that text. Ryan has disappeared from my life. No calls, no texts, no pathetic attempts at manipulation. Mom is still mad, still posting vague Facebook statuses about loyalty and forgiveness. I muted her. Dad is still secretly on my side but won't admit it out loud. And me? I finally feel free. No more guilt, no more stress, no more cleaning up Ryan's disasters. For years, I was stuck in the cycle, helping him, bailing him out, believing he would change, but he never did. And now I don't have to waste another second of my life waiting for something that was never going to happen. Ryan finally has to face the world without me. And I finally get to live my life without him. Ryan lost his apartment, tried to manipulate me into letting him move in, and when that failed, he launched a social media smear campaign. Then he sent his friends to harass me and even filed a fake complaint with my landlord. I shut it all down, cut him off for good, and now I'm finally free.